I saved my pocket money for months to buy her favorite perfume. But when I gave it with excitement, she said another boy had already gifted her something better. I saved my pocket money for months to buy her favorite perfume. But when I gave it with excitement, she said another boy had already gifted her something better. That was 3 years ago. I was 23, she was 21. Sarah, God, even typing her name makes my chest tight. I remember standing there in our tiny apartment, holding that bottle of Channel No. 5 like it was going to save our relationship. 3 months of eating ramen, skipping coffee dates with friends, walking to work instead of taking the bus. Also, I could surprise her with something special. Oh, she said, barely looking from her phone. Jake got me the new limited edition one yesterday. It's upstairs. Jake, her coworker, the guy she'd been mentioning more and more lately. That moment should have been my wake call. Should have been when I fought for us, when I asked what was happening, when I chose love over pride. Instead, I chose revenge. I could say it was planned, but it wasn't. It was pathetic, but impulsive, and everything that proves I was never the man she deserved. 2 weeks later, at my friend Mike's party, I saw Emma, Sarah's sister. 5 years younger, just turned 21, with the same green eyes but none of Sarah's walls. Emma had always looked to me, called me the good guy Sarah found, asked me about college applications, about job interviews, she hung on every word like I was some kind of mentor. That night, she found me on Mike's back porch, smoking and feeling sorry for. Look sad, she said, sitting way too close. Sarah doesn't deserve no. Those words. Those validating words that my bruised ego ate like candy. She's different now. I told Emma. Distant. There's this guy at work. Emma's hand found mine. If I had someone like, I'd never take for granted. That made everything fuzzy around the edges. Made the space between us feel electric instead of wrong. Made me forget that Emma was Sarah's baby sister. That Sarah was probably at home wondering where I was. That this was about to destroy everything good in my. We're not like her, I whispered, and Emma smiled like I'd given her the moon. Right there on Mike's porch, with Sarah's perfume still in my car, and her sister's lips tasting like the worst decision I'd ever made. It lasted maybe 10 seconds. But 10 seconds was enough to detonate my entire world. Emma pulled back first, eyes wide with what we'd done. Oh God. Oh God. What did we just do? Reality hit like ice water. Sarah's face flashed in my mind. The way she laughed at my jokes. How she'd curl against me during movies. The ring I'd been secretly saving for, hidden in my sock drawer. We can't tell her, Emma whispered. Please. This was a mistake. She'd never forgive me. I nodded, hating more with each passing second. Nobody can know. But secrets have weight. They sit in chest like stones, getting heavier every day. Every time Sarah smiled at me, every time she said, I love. Every time she mentioned Emma in passing, I felt like I was choking. Like I was choking. I couldn't touch Sarah without thinking about Emma's lips. Couldn't look at family photos without remembering how Emma had looked at me like I was her hero. Couldn't sleep without replaying that moment over and over, wishing I could take it back. 3 weeks later, Sarah found out anyway. Not from me. Not from me. From Mike's girlfriend, who'd seen us through the window and thought Sarah deserved to know what kind of man she was with. I came home to find Sarah sitting on our couch. My hidden engagement ring on the coffee table between us. We're going to propose, she asked quietly. Before or after my sister? The ring looked so small sitting there. All those months of saving, of planning, of imagining her face when I got down on one knee. Reduced to nothing by 10 seconds of betrayal. Sarah, I can explain. With Emma. Her voice was so calm it scared me. My baby sister. The one who still asks me about boys, because she trusts my judgment. The one who's looked to since the day we met. I had no words. No excuses that weren't pathetic. No explanation that would make this less. She called me crying. Sarah continued. Begging me to forgive her. Said she didn't mean for it to happen. That we're upset about Jake, and she just wanted to make feel better. Jake. The coworker. The reason I'd felt justified in my betrayal. Is there something going on with? No. Sarah's laugh was bitter. Jake is. He has a boyfriend. He was helping me pick out birthday present, paranoid. The perfume was for to give to mom. The world tilted. Everything I'd convinced of, every justification I'd built my betrayal on, crumbled to dust. I destroyed us over nothing. I whispered. Destroyed us because choice to. Sarah said, standing. Because when felt insecure, instead of talking to me, decided to me in the worst possible way. With my sister. My family. She was moving out that night. Had already called her dad to help with her stuff. 3 years together, gone in the space of one conversation. The worst part, she said, pausing at the door with a box of her things, is that Emma thinks she's seduced. She thinks this is her fault. She's 21, and she thinks she's a home wrecker because the man she admired took advantage of her trust when he was angry at me. That hit worse than anything else. Because Sarah was right. Emma had looked to me, and I'd used that adoration to make feel better. I'd let a kid blame herself for my weakness. I'm sorry, I said. The words feeling hollow and useless. Sorry doesn't fix this, Sarah replied. Sorry doesn't give Emma back her innocence or me back my trust. Sorry doesn't undo the fact that my sister, instead of fighting for our relationship. The door closed behind her with a soft click that sounded like the end of everything. I sat alone in our apartment, staring at that engagement ring, and finally understanding what I'd lost. Not just Sarah. Not just 3 years of love and laughter and shared dreams. I'd lost Emma's trust. Sarah's family's respect. My own sense of who I thought I was. All because I couldn't handle the imagined of some guy who was never at all. The perfume bottle sat on the kitchen counter, where I'd left it weeks ago. Still wrapped. Still waiting for a moment that would never come. If read my first post, know I'm the guy who is girlfriend's sister and lost everything. Well, everything was just the beginning. It's been 6 months since Sarah left. 6 months of living with what I did. I thought the worst part was losing her. I was wrong. The worst part is watching Emma destroy herself over my mistake. Sarah's mom called me last week. First time we'd spoken since Sarah moved out. I almost didn't answer. She's in therapy now, Mrs. Chen said without preamble. Emma, twice a week. My stomach dropped. What? Why? Really don't know. Her voice was ice. She hasn't eaten a full meal in months. Dropped out of her sorority. Changed her major from psychology to accounting. Because she said she doesn't trust herself to help people anymore. Each word hit like a physical. Emma had wanted to be a counselor since she was 16. Used to volunteer at the crisis hotline. Talked about helping kids who felt lost like she did after her parents' divorce. She thinks she's broken. Mrs. Chen continued. Thinks there's something wrong with her that made her steal her sister's boyfriend. Do understand what done to my daughter. I never meant. Never meant. Her laugh was harsh. Never meant to her. Never meant to let her blame herself. Never meant to destroy my family. But did all of those things anyway. She hung before I could respond. I found Emma's Instagram that night. Used to be full of pictures with friends, family gatherings, her and Sarah laughing together. Now it's mostly empty. Her last post was 3 months ago. A quote about trusting the wrong people. The comments made me sick. What happened to and Sarah?
Guys used to be so close?
Miss seeing the Chen sisters together. Hope everything's okay. Seem different lately? Emma hadn't told anyone what really happened. She was protecting me. Still. Even while she was falling apart. She was keeping my secret. That's when I realized I hadn't just betrayed Sarah. I'd corrupted someone who trusted me. Turned Emma's admiration into shame. Made her question everything good about herself, because I was too weak to handle my own insecurity. Work became too. Sarah and I had the same friend group, went to the same bars, knew the same people. Word spreads fast in a small town. At first, people just knew we'd broken. Sorry to hear about and Sarah, man. She seemed really great. Then the details started leaking. Mike's girlfriend couldn't keep her mouth shut. Soon everyone knew I'd cheated, but not with whom. That made it worse somehow. People filled in the blanks with their own assumptions. Heard, stepped out on Sarah. That's cold, dude. Sarah's better off without. She deserves someone loyal. Never took for that type. Guess never really know someone. The looks were the worst part. People I'd known for years suddenly saw me differently. I went from being Sarah's boyfriend to being the guy who cheated on Sarah. That became my entire identity. I tried dating. God help me, I actually tried to move on like I deserved happiness after what I'd done. Met this girl Jessica through a work friend. Pretty, smart, studying to be a nurse. We went on 3 dates before she found my social media, and put the pieces together. The one who broke Sarah Chen's heart. She said over coffee on what would be our last date. My roommate knows her from yoga class. Said Sarah hasn't been the same since her boyfriend cheated. The judgment in her eyes was brutal. I can't date someone who would do that, to someone they claim to love. She left me sitting alone at Starbucks with 2 untouched lats and the crushing realization that this was my now. This was how people would see me. Forever. My reputation followed me everywhere. The gym where Sarah and I used to work out together. The coffee shop where we had our first date. The grocery store, where we'd argue over what pasta sauce to buy. Isn't that Sarah's ex? I heard a woman whisper to her friend, in the cereal aisle. The one who cheated. Such a shame. She was so sweet. I started shopping at a different store. Then another. Running from my own reflection in other people's eyes. The loneliness was crushing. Not just missing Sarah, but missing who I used to be. Before, I was the good guy. The one friends came to for advice. The one their girlfriends said they wished they could find. Now I was a cautionary tale. A warning label. My buddy Tom stopped inviting me to group hangouts. It's just awkward, no. Half the people there are Sarah's friends too. Maybe in a few months, when things cool down. Months passed. The invitations never came back. I into work, thinking maybe professional success could fill the void. Got promoted to senior analyst. Bought a nicer car. Moved to a better apartment across town, where fewer people knew my story. None of it mattered. Every achievement felt hollow because I had no one to share it with. Every milestone was just another reminder of what I'd thrown away. The worst moment came 4 months ago. I ran into Sarah at the farmer's market downtown. She was with someone new. Tall guy, kind eyes, holding her hand like she was precious. She looked happy. Actually happy, not just pretending. Laughing at something he'd said. Relaxed in a way she hadn't been with me those last months, before everything fell apart. We made eye contact across the crowd. For a second, I thought about walking over. Apologizing again. Trying to explain how sorry I was, how much I'd learned, how different I was now. But then I saw it. The way she instinctively stepped closer to her new boyfriend. When she spotted me. The way her smile faded just a little. The way her body language screamed that she didn't feel safe around me. I was a to her piece. A reminder of betrayal. A shadow she was still trying to escape. I turned around and left without buying anything. Sat in my car for 20 minutes, crying like the pathetic excuse for a man I'd become. That night, I called Emma. First time since everything happened. I had to try 3 times before she answered. What do you want? Her voice was so small, so tired. I wanted to apologize. Really apologize. Not to make feel better, but because deserved to hear it. Silence. Emma, what happened was my fault. All of it. We're 21 and hurting and I took advantage of that. Didn't anything. I did. All by. Why are telling me this now? She whispered. Because I heard her struggling and I can't let blame anymore. We're a kid who looked to someone she trusted, and I betrayed that trust. Or not broken. Or not bad. We're the victim here. More silence. Then, I can't talk to anymore. I'm sorry, I just can't. The line went dead. I tried calling back once. It went straight to voicemail. I realized she'd blocked my number. That was 3 months ago. I haven't heard anything about Emma since. But I lie awake at night wondering if my words helped at all, or if I just made things worse by reminding her I exist. The isolation is complete now. Family barbecues where Sarah's cousins used to invite me. Friend groups that closed ranks. Professional networking events, where people remember my name for all the wrong reasons. I'm 26 years old, and I feel ancient. Worn down by the weight of what I've done and who I've become. Every morning I wake to my expensive apartment, alone, and remember that this is the I chose when I chose 10 seconds of betrayal over 3 years of love. Some nights I dream about that moment on Mike's porch. In the dreams, I make different choices. I tell Emma I'm flattered, but I love her sister. I go home and talk to Sarah about my insecurities. I for us instead of destroying us. I wake to reality. To consequences that don't care about my regret. Sarah's happy now. I have to believe that's worth something. That maybe she's better off having learned who I really was before she said yes to that ring. But Emma. Sweet Emma, who just wanted to help someone she cared about feel better. I broke her trying to fix my own brokenness, and that's a sin I'll carry forever. This is probably my last post here. I need to get this out, because I can't carry it alone anymore. And maybe someone reading this will make a different choice than I did. It's been a year and a half since Emma. A year since Sarah walked out. 8 months since I saw her happy with someone else. Yesterday, I found out they're engaged. Not from social media. Not from friends. From Emma. She called me at 2 a.m. and sobbing. First time I'd heard her voice since she blocked my number. She's getting married. Emma cried into the phone. Sarah's getting married, and she didn't even tell me she was dating someone seriously. My heart stopped. What do you mean she didn't tell? We don't talk anymore. Her words were slurred, broken. My own sister won't talk to me, because every time she looks at me, she sees what we did. What I did. The Chen family had imploded. Not just Sarah and me. The whole family. Emma told me everything through her tears. How Sarah moved in with their aunt across town after our breakup. How family dinners became separate dinners. How their parents had to choose sides for holidays. How Emma spent last Christmas alone in her dorm room, because showing meant making Sarah uncomfortable. She was my best friend. Emma sobbed. Before she was girlfriend, she was my best friend. We shared everything. Now she can't even look at me without remembering that night. I listened to her fall apart. And finally understood the full scope of what I'd destroyed. Not just a relationship. A family. 2 sisters who'd been inseparable since childhood. Torn apart because I couldn't handle my own insecurity. Mom sent me the engagement announcement in the mail. Emma continued. Like I'm some distant relative instead of her daughter. Thought should know, she wrote. Nothing else. Sarah was marrying the guy from the farmer's market. The announcement said they'd been together for 10 months. It was beautiful. All calligraphy and elegant fonts announcing their June wedding. Emma wasn't listed as a bridesmaid. In fact, she wasn't mentioned anywhere in the announcement at all. Like she didn't exist. I ruined her too. Emma whispered. She lost her family because of me. No. I said, my voice hoarse. She lost her family because of me. This is all because of me. But Emma was too far gone to hear it. Too deep in her own guilt spiral to accept that this was my fault. Not hers. She hung after making me promise not to call the police or her parents. Just needed someone to know, she said. Someone who understood what we'd done. I didn't sleep that night. Kept thinking about Sarah's engagement announcement. About the sister who wouldn't be at her wedding. About the family dinner table with an empty chair. The next morning. I did something I should have done months ago. I wrote a letter. Not to Sarah, I'd lost the right to contact her directly. But to her parents. To Emma. To everyone who needed to know the truth. I typed it out, printed copies, and delivered them before I could lose my nerve. The letter was simple. A full confession. How I'd initiated How I'd taken advantage of Emma's concern for me. How Emma had tried to stop it, had immediately regretted it, had spent months trying to protect both Sarah and me by staying quiet. I've stained about Jake, about my paranoia. About how I'd created a problem that didn't exist, and then destroyed everyone trying to fix it. I made it clear that Emma was a victim, not a conspirator. That she was 21 and trying to comfort someone she looked to. And I'd betrayed that trust in the worst possible way. I didn't ask for forgiveness. I didn't make excuses. I just told the truth I should have told 18 months ago. Then I waited. Mrs. Chen called first. Why now? She asked. Why tell us this now, when Sarah's finally happy? Because Emma called me last night. I said. Because she's destroying herself over my choices, because she wasn't invited to Sarah's wedding, and she thinks it's her fault. Long silence. She's been in intensive therapy. Mrs. Chen said quietly. Dropped out of school last semester. Lives in a studio apartment and works at a coffee shop, because she says she doesn't deserve better. My chest felt hollow. Emma. Who used to light rooms with her laugh. Emma, who wanted to save the world through counseling. Emma, who'd only ever tried to help people. The letter changes things. Mrs. Chen continued. We always wondered why she seemed so broken. More broken than the situation seemed to warrant. She was protecting me. I said that after everything, she was still protecting me. And destroying herself in the process. 3 days later, Emma called again. Sober this time. Quiet. My mom showed me the letter. She said. I should have told the truth from the beginning. Sarah, read it too. Long pause. She cried. First time she's cried about any of this since she moved out, Mom said. Will she talk to now? I don't know. She's processing. She thinks maybe Sarah will call me. Eventually. A week later, Emma called with an update. Sarah had reached out. Not ready to see her yet, but they'd talked on the phone for 2 hours. Cried together for the first time in over a year. She said she's sorry. Emma told me. For shutting me out. For punishing me for choices. She knows I was just trying to help that night. It was progress. Painful, slow progress, but progress. Am I invited to the wedding? Emma asked. I don't know yet. But she's thinking about it. That was 3 months ago. I haven't heard from either of them since. Don't expect to. My part in their healing doesn't include me being present for it. Last week, I saw the wedding photos on Instagram. Someone I barely knew had reposted them. Sarah looked radiant in white, surrounded by family and friends. David's eyes when he looked at her. Like she was the only person in the world who mattered. Emma was there. In the back row of the family photo, still looking fragile but present. Still part of the family, even if the relationship was different now. I stared at that photo for an hour. At the happiness I'd almost destroyed permanently. At the family that had to rebuild around the crater I'd created. At Emma's tentative smile, the first genuine one I'd seen from her in 2 years. They were healing. Not back to where they were. Some things can't be undone. I'm moving forward. Creating new traditions, new trust, new love. And me. I'm still here. Still alone. Still living with the weight of what 10 seconds of weakness cost everyone I cared about. I never got another chance. Never found someone else willing to overlook my past. Never rebuilt my reputation, or my friend group. Never stopped being the guy who cheated on Sarah with her sister. Some actions don't get do-overs. Some mistakes follow forever. I'm 28 now. Live alone in a city where nobody knows my story. Work a job that pays well but means nothing. Come home to an empty apartment and eat dinner, while watching other people's lives play out on Netflix. Sarah has a husband who cherishes her. Emma is slowly rebuilding her sense of self-worth. The Chen family is finding their way back to each other. I have regret. I have consequences. I have a lesson learned too late to save anyone, including to anyone reading this who's ever been tempted to betray someone who loves, they don't. Whatever problem think or solving, whatever think or healing, whatever validation, think, need. It's not worth it. That moment of weakness. That choice, it doesn't just break hearts. It breaks families. It breaks the person betray them with, and in ways can't imagine until it's too late. I saved my pocket money, for months to buy her favorite perfume, thinking it would prove my love. Instead, I proved I never understood what love was at all. Sarah deserved better. Emma deserved better. I deserved better than what I became. But we don't always get what we deserve. Sometimes we get what we choose.